Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakal Kodesh. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS, who are the true leaders of Israel today, and salutations to all of the Akim who do this work in truth and sincerity, who risk their lives and their freedoms to do so, as well as the scattered Israelites who come looking like the heathen but are not, by way of their forefathers' seeds who are Israelite men. The true name of the Most High is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahushai, and the Lord's for the chosen people are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as were the ones who suffer under the curses in the book of Deuteronomy. My name is Akale, and I'm from the GMS Jamaica Kingston camp, and this video is about the World War III prophecy. Alright, I just got done watching the Elder Apostle Tahar's video regarding World War III and, the spirit. Alright, so I'm going to just jump into it. Alright. And in Revelation chapter 11 and verse 14, it says, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. And that third woe is talking about World War III, and that second woe is talking about World War II. Okay? So the third woe cometh quickly, and, throughout these past years, even decades, there has been many mention about World War III. And it is, in fact, going to happen, right? World War III will be the final war upon this earth before Yahushai returns to deliver the elect of the nation of Israel. Okay? And, the title is Volodymyr Zelensky speaks at the United Nations and say World War III is the final war. And yes, it most certainly will be. There's another quote by some white-looking person, Edomite-looking person, that said that World War III will be fought by way of flames, and World War IV will be fought by way of something like sticks and stones. Because, well, first of all, there won't be a World War IV, but the reason why he said it like that is because in World War III, it's going to be mutually assured destruction. It's going to be mad, right? But though that's not how it's really going to happen, right? That's his assumption, right? Because he's assuming that the world will continue under the rulership of the Edomites in that kind of way. No, America will actually just be destroyed by way of thermonuclear fire, right? That's in the scriptures. Revelation 18, Revelation 13, Jeremiah 50, Jeremiah 51, etc., etc., etc. It's all around the scriptures, okay? And this war is called the War of Armageddon, okay? In verse 16 of Revelation chapter 16, and he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. So that's where it's going to pop off, World War III. All right, over there in the so-called Middle East, in the book of Joel chapter 2 and verse 20, it lets you know the location, as well as Joel chapter 3. It says that he will gather the Gentiles together to prepare war. All right, and there is a scripture that talks about, what does it say? Let me get it real quick. All right, so this is Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 5. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire, right? This is referring to World War III, okay, in the latter part. In the first part where it says, for every battle of the war is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, all of the wars that have been fought before, it's been fought in this kind of way, all right? The foot soldiers, and they're using whatever weapons they have at the time, and it's a great slaughter between the two nations, people, whatever, fighting against each other. Right? World War I, World War II, etc. But this, and when I say etc., I'm talking about even wars fought beforehand. You had certain ancient wars, etc. It's been fought in that kind of manner. But this World War III is going to be completely unique. All right? Because it says, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Because this burning and fuel of fire is going to be by way of those ICBM missiles that at the end of World War III, right, something's going to happen where Russia and her allies are going to shoot missiles at America, and something's going to happen where America's allies are going to turn against her and shoot her with the ICBM missiles. That's Revelation chapter 17 and verse 16. All right, and regarding Russia, it talks about the Medes, right? The Medes in the scriptures. Let me get it. Here it is in Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 11. It says, make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord Yahweh hath raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, right? In Ezekiel chapter 38, starting from verse 1 going on down, it talks about Gog and Magog, and that Yahweh Shemishah is going to put hooks into their jaws, and he's going to gather up their armies and put them into that spirit of war, and he's going to gather their allies as well, all right, to go to battle, okay? And at the end of that battle, which is going to be that World War III, they're going to shoot these arrows. So these arrows make bright. The arrows are the ICBM missiles. Gather the shields. The Lord Yahweh hath raised up the spirits of the kings of the Medes for his devices against Babylon. And Babylon here is talking about America, which is known as Mystery Babylon the Great in Revelation chapter 17. Okay? For his devices against Babylon to destroy it, because it's the vengeance of the Lord Yahweh, the vengeance of his temple. So America is going to be destroyed by way of thermonuclear fire, okay, at the end of this World War III, right? And, well, okay. So we can jump to verse 13. Not verse 13. 2nd Ezra chapter 13, okay? And let's see the interpretation of the dream. Where to start? We can go to verse 25. Because the scripture actually kind of like, goes from one place to the other. But I'll start at verse 25. This is the meaning of the vision, whereas thou sawest a man coming up from the midst of the sea. The same is he whom God the highest hath kept a great season, which by his own self shall deliver his creature, and he shall order them that are left behind. And whereas thou sawest that out of his mouth there came as a blast of wind and fire and storm. All right. And that's talking about Yahushua, right? Because at the top here, right, in 2nd Ezra chapter 13, it says, and in verse 3, and I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven, and when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. I should have to start at verse 2. Let's start at verse 1. And it came to pass after 7 days I dreamed by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven, and when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. And that's because when Yahushua returns, he's coming with the chariots, which Esau, Edom are calling so-called UFOs and are saying that aliens are in them. No, that's the chariots of the Most High, which it's a traveling vehicle for the angels, okay? And Yahushua is going to be coming on a big chariot, right? And those chariots are going to shoot beams of fire from them, okay? And those beams of fire are going to aid in the destruction of America. So America is not only going to be destroyed by way of the thermonuclear fire from the missiles, but Yahushua is going to be blasting America as well. America and the Yahushua and the chariots are going to be blasting fire upon America as well. Okay? And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of the number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came onto the sea. And that's biblical prophecy, because we know that in the book of Revelation, it says that Esau, Edom, they're going to still, and these other nations as well, they're going to see Yahushua come, and they're going to still go and try to fight him, but it's all going to be for naught. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew upon it. So that great mountain, as being described, is going to be that great chariot. Okay? But I would not have seen the region or place where out the hill was graven, and I could not. So when the prophet Ezra saw this, he couldn't see where it ended, because it was so big. Okay, it was so massive, right? And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet there's fight. So, right, the heathen nations, they're going to fight, but, they're going to be afraid. Okay? And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand nor held sword nor any instrument of war. Right? Because Yahushua isn't coming as a man. Yahushua is coming in, you can say, his pure godless state. Okay? With a mass amount of spiritual power. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempest. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell. When I saw this, I was afraid, right? So it says, okay? So, yeah, man, Yahushua is coming, and he's going to be aiding in that destruction, right? Because World War III is going to happen, and America is going to be destroyed, but Yahushua is going to return at that moment, because the elect of the nation of Israel have to be saved from that thermonuclear fire, right? That's how we know Yahushua is coming at that moment. Okay, so let's go back to this, right, in 2nd Ezra chapter 13, and let's go to verse 26. The same is he whom God the highest hath kept a great season, which by his own self shall deliver his creature, and he shall order them that are left behind. And whereas thou sawest that out of his mouth that there came as a blast of wind and fire and storm, and that he held neither sword nor any instrument of war, but that the rushing in of him destroyed the whole multitude that came to subdue him. This is the interpretation. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth. And who's going to be delivered? The elect of the nation of Israel. Zechariah chapter 13 and verse 8 says that the 1/3 shall be kept, but 2/3 shall be destroyed of all people, right? And it's not only the 1/3 in America that will be delivered, right? You have the rest of the Israelites around the four corners of the earth that are part of the elect that will be delivered. And the rest of the Israelites, the wicked Israelites, the unbelieving Israelites around the four corners of the earth that will be destroyed. Okay? And he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth, right? They're going to be shocked. All right? As it says in Revelation chapter 1, that he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and those that pierced him as well, to paraphrase, right? People are going to see Yahushua come, and they're going to be shocked. Okay? And verse 31 says, and one shall undertake to fight against another, and one city against another, and one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. And this is talking about World War III. So you see how the scriptures go? It's not just like boom, 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 like how books are written in succession. It jumps from one period of the time to the next, right? So the description of Yahushua is actually right after this part right here, which is the World War III itself. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another, right? And that's the World War III. Okay, and America is going to be destroyed by thermonuclear fire. In Revelation chapter 9, it talks about the multitude of them that were seen. Okay, if I'm quoting it correctly, that it is 200,000, right? And that number, when you add all of the zeros, that's like 200 million, right? And the scriptures say in regarding to the missiles that they will not, they'll not stop. Okay, so once they're launched, those 200 million missiles are going to be hitting America, and she shall be utterly destroyed. All right. But World War III is most certainly on its way, and that is going to be the final tool used to essentially end that World War III. Okay. So, yeah, man, with that, I'd like to say all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shemishai. I want to read verse 32. And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the sign shall happen, which I shewed thee before. Then shall my son, which is Yahushua, be declared, whom thou sawest as a man ascending, right? Because at that moment, it's Yahushua coming to put the Israelites into our rightful rulership. Okay? So with that, I'd like to say all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Shemishai, Bashim, Kodesh, Wa Abad, Babal, Shalom.